Good evening, I'm George D, and I'm an alcoholic. Y'all, first of all, I'd like to say thank you so much for letting me be a part of y'all's program. It is an honor. When Ed called me, I was like, yes, I'm so humbled and honored that you would ask me. Absolutely. Click. I was like, what did I just do? I was just like shot up, like, oh my God, immediate panic. Called my sponsor. I'm like, hey, did something dumb. Let's talk about it real quick, But no, absolutely thank you for allowing me to be here and letting me share my story with all of you. My sobriety date is November the 10th of 2020. I have a sponsor who has a sponsor who has a sponsor. I have a home group, the National Hills Group. I have worked the 12 steps, and I work with other alcoholics. And guys, this program actually does work. I am an educator by trade, and so the easiest way for me to feel comfortable when I'm doing this is to kind of pop into that mode of things. And so if I had a board up here, I'd throw it up here and say, alcoholics will be able to understand, and do it like that. But I do want you to get like 3 things out of it so we kind of frame it, where we're going and where we want to end up. The first thing I want you to understand and know about me, or about the program, I guess, is alcoholic isolation is overcome by rigorous honesty and connection. This program provides it for us. Vulnerability is very hard, and it can be painful, but when it's shared with the right people, it can be a powerful agent for change, and these rooms have the right people. And lastly, like I said already, this program works. So just a little bit about me to begin. I'm from Augusta, born and raised, come from a family that is, it's a pretty standard family, mom, dad, younger sister, and myself, and our family is deeply rooted in tradition and religion. So I grew up in the Baptist church and everything like that. So nothing really out of the ordinary, I would say, growing up. But then teenage years hit and things started to go a little haywire. When I was 16, 17 or something like that, we always kind of had like a secret thing within our family, I guess you could say, where it's keep it in the family. We don't air our dirty laundry. We don't put things out there, so to speak. So whenever something would go wrong, it was kind of taught, it was kind of instilled in me that we don't share those things. Anything that's out of order, anything that's not decent, we don't really put those things out there for people to know. So then around 16 or 17, it hit, and I was like, crap, I'm gay. And that was a big wrench in everything. I was like, all right, let's go push that down. We're not going to talk about that kind of thing. But that's where, from that point forward, I learned shame. I learned secrets. I learned something was wrong with me. And that kind of festered and brought its way up into other aspects of my life. I hadn't discovered alcohol quite yet, but definitely the seeds were already planted. I didn't really drink in high school, late bloomer, I guess you could say. I eventually ended up in college, University of Georgia, go Dogs. And there you go. Yeah. Good place to drink, right? So my freshman year, my roommate and I had an older cousin that was at college, and so we would pay him $20 to buy us a cheap bottom shelf handle of vodka, and we drink that and play Mario Kart in the dorm room, and that's what we did. Yeah, exactly. And I hadn't drunken anything, so what we did was we went down to the vending machines, got a thing of Coke, and we did in the little, we have medicine, like on the Pepto-Bismol has like a little cup. We filled that with Coke, and I take shots of that, and that's how I learned to take shots in my freshman year. I didn't really start drinking until my sophomore year, and I got a fake ID and everything like that. That's not out of the ordinary. The spring of my sophomore year had a bad breakup. People do that sometimes. I did not handle it very well and kind of said, all right, got this fifth of vodka, got this bed, and I just laid there, shut the blinds, shut the windows, and just drank for a couple of days. Eventually my roommate came out and he said, hey, get up, we gotta go. And threw the windows back and stuff like that, like straight out of a movie. And the reason that's important, the reason I share that is because that is the first time that I had ever weaponized alcohol. That's the first time I said, I do not like this feeling, and so I'm going to change it. And so that was a pivotal thing because it worked for a little bit of time. Nothing really bad happened. I still passed my classes and stuff like that. So as far as I was concerned, I got a new trick. I don't like it. I know how to change it. And that became very dangerous over the next couple of years. I would miss classes from time to time. I'd miss a test. But I was in college, so that was pretty normal, I like to think. After I graduated, moved to Jacksonville, was there for a government program for a year where I really upped my drinking because I didn't know anybody, nobody knew me. There was not a lot of shame attached to that. And then I moved to Charlotte, and that's where I feel like I really developed my drinking, so to speak. Charlotte's a great city. I love Charlotte. Moved there in 2013. Charlotte did not love me. That's what I like to think about it. Started teaching there and thought, I'm a responsible adult now. I go to work in the morning. I go home. I pay bills or rent and stuff like that. And I would drink on the weekends because that's what young people do. We go out, we have a good time, and then we come back to work on Monday. The first year, that's exactly how it worked. I think the summer after that year, I had a summer gig working at Old Navy, working closed shift at Old Navy. And so I was hanging out at the pool, I was drinking all day, and I was about to go to work. And my roommate asked me, he's like, hey, are you good to drive? Are you okay? Can you go to work? You need to call in? And I was like, no, the good store manager's working. She'll be fine with it, kind of a thing. So that's the first time somebody asked me, like, are you okay? Is your drinking a problem? And I was like, no, I just kind of brushed it off. Because at that point in time, I figured it's just me having a good time. It's summer. I don't have those responsibilities. And so that's how I proceeded with things. But then in my second and third year in Charlotte, my weekend drinking, my occasional drinking definitely started to bleed into other aspects of my life. I would call in from work from time to time without having a substitute, without having any lesson plan, just like, I'm not coming, kind of a thing. Very irresponsible on my behalf. This is when I started to experiment with like controlled drinking. Like, all right, I'm only going to drink on Friday, Saturdays, and up to noon on Sunday. So that means you got to start before noon if you're going to stop at noon, right? Exactly. Right. I'm only going to drink on Thursday. I'll have one, and then I'll kind of progress. You know, I had all these tricks up my sleeve, and obviously none of those seemed to work because at a certain point in time, I'm not exactly sure when, but I woke up and was like, yeah, I need to do that. I wasn't feeling great. I was still feeling last night. Here, the dog, just take a shot. He'll be fine. Go to work. Brush your teeth real good. Go to work. Did not work. Things started to spin out of control, but I really, really thought I had a handle on things up until I got my DUI on March the 10th of 2016. The reason that date is so important to me is because when I got arrested and when I was there, I needed to call somebody, so I called my roommate. Desperately wanted to call my parents, but didn't want to call them because the next day was my dad's birthday. And I didn't want to give him that news that his son is in jail the day before his birthday when I'm supposed to be there celebrating his life. Again, shameful, secretive moment that I did not want to share because we don't do that. That is indecent. So after that DUI, of course, important to know, it was a morning DUI. I got my DUI at 7 a.m. on the way to work, right? So of course the school system was like, that's not good. Let's talk about that one. And they put me on a suspension for 30 days and said, all right, you can come back. If every morning you come to the principal's office, I'm back in grade school, come to the principal's office and you blow. And I said, all right, cool deal. I can do that. First day back, boom, drunk. Showed up. Came in, the French teacher, I'm a Spanish teacher, by the way. The French teacher that was there, there you go. The French teacher that was there, she saw me and said, I cannot let you come into this building. I said, all right, fine, I'll just go back home. She's like, I can't let you leave. What are you doing? And so it was just this weird moment. Eventually, because the school system did find out, took me that moment to get tested. And of course, I was drunk. And so they said, all right, sit home until the end of the year and we'll discuss what your next steps are. So I thought I was kind of in the clear if I just decided to lay low. Someone else in the district, another teacher in the district, had an inappropriate relationship with a student. And so Charlotte Mecklenburg decided we're going to put out every teacher that's done something bad and gotten arrested this year. And so my mugshot was on the 5 o'clock news. And so I was being recognized for all of the wrong things at that point in time and I was just kind of living. It was just a very, very terrible situation because at this point in time, I had stopped drinking because I'm in a bad situation right now. But now that my name is on the 5 o'clock news and people are recognizing me as an alcoholic or whatever, I'm justified in my drinking now. So I really started swinging for the fences at that point in time. Until I got a wonderful phone call from a woman who taught me 10th grade world history when I was in Augusta. And she was a principal and said, hey, do you want to come here and teach? And I said, yes, God, get me out of Charlotte. I thought that was divine intervention. I thought that this was when things would take a turn. I'm finally rescued, essentially. The funny thing about that, I mean, we're all here, so we know that didn't work out very well. I got down here, I did a residential program, and they said, all right, you got to stay here for 30 days. I said, okay, I can do 30 days, I didn't drink for 30 days, I didn't drink for 2 months, I didn't drink for 3 months, I didn't drink for 4 months, until I met a guy, and he said, I like wine. I said, me too. And so then I'm right back at it. Nothing has changed. Through that, I drank my way through that relationship. It was very unhealthy. It was based on nothing but unhealthy situations. I remember one morning I had gotten so drunk I was determined to go to school because I couldn't miss another day because I had missed so many days doing this cycle that I had already gone through. And I was in the kitchen, I was in the bathroom trying to figure out what I was going to do because I have to go to work this morning. And so, being the scientific brain that I am, said, I will drink this bottle of Listerine. Because 2 birds, 1 stone. I'm drunk, and I smell minty fresh, And so when I got to school and the kids were like, ooh, it smells like mint in here, I was like, perfect, done, did it, kind of thing. But that's a low point. That was something I was very ashamed of, and it's like, I didn't drink alcohol. I mean, I drank alcohol, but I didn't drink the normal alcohol that we all drink. I drank something that literally says, do not ingest this. And I said, I will do what I want. Do not tell me what to do. So clearly things are running off the rails. But I still have a job. I'm not homeless. So for me, it's like, it hasn't gotten out of control yet. I'm still in a decent place, is the way that I feel about it. So in trying to get my certification changed down here to Georgia, Georgia eventually found out, oh, so you got a DUI and then you immediately came down here to teach? Absolutely not. We're not doing that. And so then I had to do a couple of odd jobs, so my morale is a little down at this point in time. I first entered the rooms of AA through the residential program that I was a part of. And so over the next couple of years, after I'm released from that residential program, it's weird because I knew when things got bad, I knew where to go. So I would show up in the rooms, and literally for me, I always say, it's like having a moment to pause and literally just breathe. Being in that room for an hour. It's an hour where I don't have to worry about anything. No one is calling me names. I'm not worried about what my job situation is. I'm just there listening to other people who I truly relate to until I feel better, and then I'm back out the door. Because that's what my sickness does. So you're good, let's go back and drink. Everything's kind of slowed down a little bit, let's go back and drink. So at some point in time, me and that guy break up at some point in time, and I go on a 3-day bender because I'm justified. I've been done wrong. I've been cheated on, all that kind of stuff like that. So I go into this deep, dark depression, same as the first time I weaponized alcohol. Here's a fifth, here's my bed, this is where I will be, kind of a thing. But then I was determined to change, so I stopped drinking liquor, and I started drinking wine. And my drinking behavior kind of changed up. So instead of being a constant drinker, I became a binge drinker and an out-of-town drinker normally. So I would go to Atlanta to visit a friend or a fraternity brother or something like that. I'd party, and it would just last a little bit too long. Because I would wake up and say, all right, I'm good to go. If I just let this pass, I'll be able to go home. Because I'm also living with my parents at this point in time. I think I forgot that. And they don't want to smell their son coming home, sneaking in, smelling like whatever alcohol I drank the night before. So I can only drink out of town. At some point in time, in February of 2020, actually, I went out of town for a friend's birthday, and I said, all right, I'm going to be the DD. That is the responsible thing. That will keep me out of trouble. That's how I would do that. Until about 1 o'clock, she said, we all got an Uber, and so you don't have to drive anymore. I was like, perfect, got it. But it's also 1 o'clock, it's only an hour. How much damage can I really do in an hour? Exactly, as much as I really, really wanted to. So when I woke up, came out of my blackout the next morning, I had to go home at some point in time. I had to run an errand, and so and meet up with my sister, who lives in Atlanta. And as soon as she opened the door, she was like, whoa, have you been drinking? And then this complete, she's like, no, complete lie. That day did not go very well for me. And I ended up that night back at the National Hills Group. And the whole thing I kept thinking was, I just lied to my sister. That was a line I never thought I would cross. I'll lie to anybody else. Why not? Who are you? You know, kind of a thing. But to lie to my sister in that way, just such a bold-faced lie, when all she just asked me a question, she cares about me. She's concerned for me. She's the only person in my life, besides my parents to a certain degree, who has unconditionally loved me. And I just said, it was a big old screw you to her face. And I felt terrible about that. It wasn't anything else in my life. It wasn't the DUI. It wasn't calling out of work or anything like that. It was that point when I was like, I have got to change something. So I knew where to go. I went back to the National Hills Group and I walked in the door. And I had a friend there named Kelly, and I said, I need help. Please, I need help. And so it was the end of the meeting, so she flagged down my sponsor, and I thought, okay, I'm doing it now. I got it. Like I'm getting a sponsor. I'm doing what they told me to do. I'm coming to meetings regularly. But the thing about calling your sponsor is you're supposed to do it every day, not just, once a week when I feel like it, just kind of off and on like that. And so I wasn't prepared for when life happened to me. Father's Day of last year of 2020, my mom calls me and she says, hey, your dad wants a Low Country Boy for Father's Day. Can you pick up some crab legs at Kroger? And I'm like, yeah, sure, absolutely, I can do that. Simple task. I get in my car to go to Kroger, get some crab legs. They're on sale. I honestly cannot tell you what happened. I know that I stopped at a gas station. I know I bought the biggest bottle of wine I could find. And then I woke up in front of my apartment complex with the bottle of wine in my hand. Empty, but I just woke up there. I don't know what happened. That was like a flash, and then I was blacked out again. The next thing I woke up to was my mom in my apartment with the guy that I'm dating now, and he's in the corner crying. My mom, and I'm like, oh, my face hurts, because my mom just slapped the crap out of me because I was passed out and I wasn't waking up. She was terrified. He was terrified. My sister's here at this point in time. She's terrified. And all these people have kind of descended upon me. It's like, what is going on? At that point in time, I think I saw helplessness on my parents' face and on my mom's face. More shame, more secrets I'm trying to hide, more indecency that I'm trying to press down, but it's spilling over. I can't handle it and I cannot control it. So I'm ready to call my sponsor again for another 2 weeks, give or take. And I think I'm good. I think I'm on the right path. I'm starting to do the steps, but I'm just trying to get sober. I'm not trying to actually change my life. So I'm not really putting forth the effort into the steps that I feel that they're actually warranted. And so the last time I drank was in November, and I was just sitting on the couch. Nothing was going on. Nothing was wrong. Life was pretty good at that time. And I said, why not? And went to Kroger, got some more of the wine that I like to drink. Drank the bottle. Waited about an hour. Nothing bad happened. Go back and get another bottle. Nothing bad happened. Go back and get another bottle. By this point in time, I know that I'm not going to be able to go to work the next day, so I go ahead and do the responsible thing and I call out. And I have the plan. I say, all right, well, if I'm going to be home, I might as well keep drinking, right? So I get myself another bottle, and I'm very strategic about it. I hide it in the car because I know my partner's going to go to work, and then he comes home for lunch. So if I drink this bottle as soon as he leaves in the morning, and then when he comes home for lunch, if I leave while he comes home for lunch, I can come back, and then by the time he gets home in the afternoon, I'm sober. This was my plan. Because just that quickly, overnight, when nothing had happened, I had fallen back into my old habits and I had fallen back hard. There's no way that would have worked out. Luckily for me, I'd like to think, I passed out on the bed. And so he came home for lunch, mad as a hornet. Because I had left all the bottles I had drank in the car so he could see them as soon as he pulled up. Took me back to my parents' house. That's kind of like the home base when I get drunk. Back to your parents' house. Go home and think about what you've done, kind of a thing. And I'm like, all right, I can do this. Just kind of, all right, back to the West Side Club. And I'm like, all right, got to get back on track. Got to get back on track. At my parents' house, I can convince them that I need to go up really quickly, and if I'm going to stay here for a while, I need to get stuff like cleaning stuff. I need to get some deodorant. I need to get some toothpaste. I need to get some mouthwash, those kinds of things. And so when they finally released me back to my apartment, before I leave, chug another bottle of mouthwash. Why? I have literally no idea. I still cannot tell you why. It was just, I needed something in me, I guess, because I still had that urge. I still had that uncontrollable desire, and I could not deal with it. But that was it. My partner, of course, found it when he was cleaning up my stuff because I was drunk again. So I just went home and went to sleep. But there was so much, it was a realization that, like, I am standing here alone and I'm actively ruining all the relationships that I have. You know, it wasn't, I still have the job, I have these other things, but what really matters to me, the moral code that I claim to have, is being destroyed by my actions on a daily basis. No one has any faith in me anymore. No one can rely on me. It's just a very, very shameful place. And this is shame that I've been living with for years. And it's unbearable. So I get back into the rooms, I call my sponsor, and he says to me, when you're done, let's get back to it. And I think that was a very important phrase, because saying that put the onus back on me to actually do the work. And so I did the work, and I started doing the work. I started coming to meetings. I started being ridiculously and rigorously honest. And when I got back into the steps, he told me, to my very offended heart, said, well, you did a good assignment when you did that. And so I'm like, oh, so he kind of knew that I was just kind of BS and everything when I was going through it. So at that point in time, I became ridiculously honest with him and actually started giving the program for all it's worth. And, you know, for the longest time, I let my differences kind of separate me from the people in the rooms. I have a different sexuality. I have a different race than a lot of people. Just those things, I was like, all right, these are the reasons I'm not like you all, kind of a thing. But that was just me. It was a cop-out. It was a cop-out for me so that I could just do what I wanted to, so I could keep drinking. Once I removed that boundary, started connecting with people, things really started to change for me. I felt like nobody cared, but in the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous, everybody cared. That's something I had never felt before. There was not a lot of shame. I didn't have to be sick due to my secrets anymore. And that was a weight lifted off of my shoulders. I finally felt a lot of love that I had felt that I hadn't deserved for a very long time. The people here were level with me. They didn't, you know, they just kind of told me what was on their mind, and they really cared for me. And they wanted to see me sober. And I really appreciated that. Eventually, the obsession became lifted. I learned to pray in these rooms. And I connected with my higher power. Me and my higher power had been at odds for a very long time. And it took all of that for me to learn just to connect with him again and just be in the presence. You know, life is lighter today. Life still happens, but I don't feel hopeless and helpless the way I used to be. Life wasn't happening to me. I was able to handle life on life's terms. All those things that they say in the room, they actually happened and are happening for me. Myself, I feel dependable, I feel reliable, I feel connection and trust coming back into my life still every day. And something that is important for me is all the emotions that I feel are real. You know, all of the shame that I feel sometimes, I'm able to deal with it in a certain way that I had just pressed down before. All of the love that I feel, I can actually feel very deeply because I can connect with people in a way that I had never done before. And then removing alcohol just allowed for me to do that emotional search, to do that hard work to get to the point where I am right now and where I want to continue to go. And so all of that, I'll say, if no one has said it to you before, I just want to remind anybody that's out there that's looking for a way to go, in these rooms, you are fiercely loved. And you are absolutely worthy of all the happiness that you've been seeking. Thank you.